Poor literacy in children could cost the economy £830 million after the pandemic slows reading skills. We're going to read into this more from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Independent with the headline that poor literacy in children could cost the economy £830 million after pandemic slows reading skills. Around 187,000 5-year-olds in England, or 30%, are falling behind their expected reading levels. Guys, while you're here, before I give my initial thoughts, if you can hit the like button and share across social media so others are notified of this video. I really find that reading and literature is still such an important thing for children. I know that as time has changed and generations come across now, is that there are less of a needs for kids, that there's this perception that's growing that there's less of a needs for kids to write. I still think writing is very, very important. I still think it should be an important curriculum, and I still think it's something that should be gone. But reading is really, really important. Now, whether it is reading a book or reading from a tablet or whatever that might be, the skill and not being able to have that can be very damaging, especially when they get older in life. And the very fact that the pandemic played a hand in this is very concerning, to say the least. Now, obviously, there may have been some cases where some parents were able to help with their reading skills while they're at home. Some teachers were obviously able to help with terms of read. But I'm more concerned about the kids who didn't have the more on the lower end of the threshold from children who were stuck in during the pandemic. The ones who didn't have access to computers, the ones who had parents that maybe, or single parents that just didn't have time to give to them, that couldn't give them the skills that they need. And unfortunately, the question is, if we have to ask ourselves, in particular here in England, have we played enough catch up? Like, have we given the kids enough time to catch up on since the pandemic? I think it's a question we need to ask ourselves. Now, but one of the counter arguments that teachers may have is that they have given extra for the kids to work on once they recovered from the pandemic, when they came back into the pandemic, to try and make up that time that they've been out for such a long time. And I generally believe that when that kids did not get, in my opinion, and maybe will disagree, but I think kids did not get enough time in school. As a matter of fact, I personally think the kids get too much time off. That's just my personal feeling, but I'm not a parent, so what do I know? But I do think that the reading skills, and amongst others, are so vital and important. And the question is that I think we need to ask ourselves is, did we give enough of it after the pandemic to these children to ensure they get given the best opportunities possible? And based off this report, we're probably going to say no, which is a real shame. So, poor literacy levels in young children cost the economy £830 million. A think tank has said as data reveals how children in disadvantaged areas are falling behind their peers. Around 187,000 5-year-olds in England, or 30%, are falling behind their expected reading levels. Data from the year 2022-2023 showed this is compared to 27% in 2018-2019. An increased number of families have been unable to access the right early years support in the wake of the pandemic and the cost of living crisis, experts have said. Lockdowns have also meant that families that didn't have access to education and care at key stages of their children's development, the National Literacy Trust has said. Some 125,000 5-year-olds, 20% of the cohort, are also behind on their communication and language skills. This is compared to 18% in 2018-2019. Researchers found the poor literacy skills will end up costing the economy £830 million over the lifetimes of each year groups of 5-year-olds, or £7,800 per child. Now, obviously, this is a think tank. This isn't 100% accurate. It's an estimate. I would say take it with a pinch of salt, but it is still extremely concerning that 125,000 behind on their communication language skills. That's really terrible, to say the least. And I hope that they are trying to play catch up. If not teachers, at least parents are trying to help them play catch up to it, because I really do think that that really is important for children. This adds up to 5,300 loss in potential earnings per child over their lifetime. Research from the Pro Bono Economics has found. It also costs an average 2,500 per child in additional support from the government, the charity has said. Those in more deprived areas of the country are the worst affected, with 43,000 of the 5-year-olds not meeting the right reading levels living in these regions. In Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, more than a quarter of 5-year-olds have had low levels of literacy, researchers have found. In the year 2022-2023, the North West, North East, West Midlands and Yorkshire and the Humber were among the regions with the highest rates of children struggling to meet their literacy standards. Jonathan Douglas, the Chief Executive of the National Literacy Trust, called on the government and local businesses to support the campaign of outreach to children in areas worst hit by the cost of living crisis. He said, "We know we're experiencing poverty has had a huge effect on the child's early communication, language and literacy skills, and that this will have consequences for their learning, their confidence, their well-being and their ability to thrive for the rest of their lives." Matt Wilker, CEO of Pro Bono Economics, said, "That is so many young children that are reaching reception so far behind basic reading and communication skills should raise alarm bells everywhere." Rachel Hofkopf, head of corporation affairs at KPMG UK, who commissions the research, said, "At age 5, far too many children are needlessly falling short of expected standards before they even are given a proper chance in life." She added that the research shows that not only impacts our economy but also curtails access to career opportunities and earnings potential later in life, especially among those from deprived backgrounds. The Department of Education has been contacted for comment. At the time of this recording, there has been no response at the moment. But yeah, it's pretty horrible to say the least, guys. I hope the number is not this high, and I generally hope that it's not as bad. But I do think it's a great deal of cause for concern. We know that our schools have been suffering 14 years of austerity from this Conservative government, so that has also played a factor into this. Obviously, the time of COVID, being in lockdowns, have severely hampered children as well. Let's make no mistakes about it. Children not being able to learn and study within a classroom and being stuck at home, some of them unable to have access to online learning, has had a huge impact on children, and I think we all are aware of that. And being able to recover that and what amount of time it is, it's difficult. It's a very frustrating one, to say the least, guys. I hope that teachers in England are able to overcome this and get kids who have been through this above and beyond that. But I also understand the workload that they are taking on is already extremely high as it is. So I do understand that point of view. But is this a failure of teachers? This is a failure of the schools? This is the failure of the Department of Education? Who is ultimately responsible for this? I think it's a question we need to ask ourselves. But what do you guys think? Do you believe this 830 million could cost down the line in terms of economy of poor literature for children? Those children that didn't get the reading skills they needed during that time, during the pandemic, the knock-on effects to it. Do you think there's anything to believe in this? Let me know your thoughts on this story in the comments section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media and hit the bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me in the work I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or joining me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.